would lose that for sure.
I'd rather the big town than the city.
Right here? What thing would that be? I may need to stand on a chair. I don't think I'm much taller standing than I am sitting, so hopefully everybody can see me. I don't know how I'm going to follow that. That was fantastic. Betsy Henderson. Yeah, Betsy Henderson. So my name is Betsy Henderson. I'm currently, I started on the Knox County School Board. Like I said before, I'm serving as chair. And I also represent District 6, which is the Hardin Valley Farms area of Knox County. And I just want to also introduce my mom is here this evening. She's part of my story. I'm going to kind of go into my background. And, family is a big part of who I am. We have a very close family. And she can either fill in some holes or tell some stories about me later. That could be embarrassing childhood stories, but we'll see. So yes, my name is Betsy Henderson. So I'm also running for Knox County Mayor. As most of you know, or all of you know, Mayor Jacobs is term limited, so it is an open seat. And the primary is on May 5th. And so that is the seat that I am running for. I was born and raised here in East Tennessee, grew up in Blount County, went to Mayoral City Schools, graduated from UT in 2001. My mom was born and raised in South Knoxville, so she is an East Tennessean as well. My dad came here from Greece at the age of 16. His parents put him on a boat through Ellis Island so that he could have a better life. He didn't speak English. My dad didn't graduate high school. He came here with $50 and just started opening up restaurants and taught himself English by reading the newspaper, the News Sentinel. And my mom and dad met when my mom was at UT as a student, and my dad had the Varsity Inn on Cumberland. Maybe some of y'all have eaten there. So that was my dad's restaurant. And then he opened up Lakeview Market in Delhi, highway. So some of y'all may remember me as a little girl working the cash register there at the market. And then he also had Campus Liquor on Alcoa Highway as well. So my parents worked really hard to build up those businesses, so I'm very pro-business. My parents built the American dream. They gave me and my two sisters the American dream, and I want to make sure that the American dream is preserved for my children, my grandchildren, your grandchildren, and children as well. So that's why I'm running for mayor. I graduated, like I said, from UT in 2001. When I graduated, I moved to DC the week of 9/11 to work for Congressman Duncan. I'm kind of surprised my parents even let me move up there because we moved up there the week. I think that Wednesday or Thursday, it was a Tuesday, we moved up there that week. And so I started working for Congressman Duncan that following week in his DC office. It was a great experience. I loved working for him. I'm very loyal to the Duncan family. He was a great boss. And I met my husband up there. So we worked up there, we started our family up there, and then when our kids were starting getting school age, it was time to settle down. So we came back here to East Tennessee. My husband is from Florida, so he loves living here. So we moved back 12 years ago. Our kids at the time were 3 and 5. They're now 14 and 16. I don't have to tell y'all, time flies by. So they're now, in a couple weeks, our youngest is going to be starting high school at Hornback Academy, and our son is a junior. He's a new driver. He just turned 16. So this is a whole new world for me. So when we moved back, I started getting involved in their schools. They were at Hornback Valley Elementary School. And so I was room parent and worked my way up to PTO president at their school. I loved that experience. I loved helping in the schools. I love helping families and being a part of the community. So the opportunity to run for school board came up in 2019. And so we prayed about it as a family, and we decided to jump into that race. And then 2020 happened. So I ran for school board during COVID. And it's funny, I was having lunch one day with another school board member, with Susan Horn, and kids at the time were small when she was first on school board. So we're having lunch, and I remember asking her, is this manageable? I've got 2 young children. I want to make sure that I can put 100% into this job. And she said, nothing's coming up. This was in 2019. Nothing's coming up. Everything is great. Nothing's on the horizon. And then COVID happened. I remember she called me that week and said, will you still run for the school board? Please still run for the school board. And so I've been on the school board for the past 6 years, and it's been a wonderful experience. I love serving with Christy and Travis, and we're grateful. So it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience. You know, some of the things that we've had to deal with, which I'm very proud of our record and my record of leadership, is we had to deal with COVID. And what did that look like in the schools? And it was important to make sure that our kids stayed in school and stayed out of masks. So that's what we were fighting for during that time period. And also one of my big priorities is literacy. It's personal for me. My daughter's dyslexic. We found out in 5th grade. And so for me, it is very personal. And so 4 years ago, I started a countywide literacy program with Mayor Jacobs. I called him up one day and I said, what do you think about starting this countywide literacy program in our elementary schools? And he said, let's do it. And so we fundraise and purchase 30,000 books for every K through 5 student in Knox County. We have a community scavenger hunt around this program, and we also have career-based videos. And so it's a program that we're very proud of. It's going strong in year 4. It is a shared literacy experience between the schools, the community, and home. And so it's something I'm very proud of that I've worked very hard over the past couple of years. Also during that time, we had our city mayor who tried to take our law enforcement officers out of our schools. And so that's, I see Christy over there. So that is also something that we had to deal with, and we worked very hard to make sure that we kept our officers in our schools, and also to make sure that they felt appreciated and needed and wanted. And so that was something that we had to deal with on the school board as well. And then also, you know, during COVID, a lot of parents saw what was going on in the schools. We're very lucky that we live in a very red county. People are moving here for our conservative values. The parents saw across the country what was going on in schools. And so it's very important to just get back to the basics. Make sure that we are focusing on foundational literacy, those math skills, make sure that our kids are not just ready for graduation, but what does life look like beyond graduation, to make sure that they are set up for a life of success. And so I served on the superintendent search committee 3 years ago to look for a new superintendent, and he has been focusing on 4 priorities and getting back to education in our schools. So it's been a great 6 years on the school board. I've served as chair for the last 2 years, so I'm very proud of that as well. And so now, running for county mayor. Again, this was something our family prayed about. I was approached to run by some community leaders. So early on, I was having these conversations, and the conversations were very, very encouraging, very positive. And so we prayed about it as a family. And I think I was looking for God to tell me to stay comfortable. He always calls us to do hard things, but he always promises to walk alongside us. So after the holidays, we decided, let's jump in. My mom's a big part of it as well. And so our family has jumped into this race. I truly think that we are at a crossroads here in Knox County. And we have to continue to elect conservative leaders to protect our values and to protect our way of life, to make sure that we are keeping taxes low, and to make sure that we have smart, sustainable growth. I live in Hornback Valley. It is unchecked sprawl out there. I have a new driver driving on a 2-lane country road that needs to be fixed and worked on. So these are some things that are on the horizon. I think, you know, you have this office as mayor for the next 4 to 8 years, but really you're setting the vision for the next 20 to 30 years. We all have kids that are coming up, and how do we keep our kids here? And how do we make sure that we keep those conservative values? I'm going to pause just right there because I'm very much like, I like open conversation. Does anybody have any questions, any comments right now before we kind of move on a little bit? No? All right, we'll move on. You know, one thing that we have a debt coming up that we have to pay. 10 to 15 years ago, the county budget was $400 million. Our county budget now is $1.1 billion. And I think that is more than enough money to take care of what we need to take care of. Getting back to core services, roads, great schools, law enforcement. You know, Andy is here, he serves on county commission, and he asks questions during the budget meeting. And thank you for that. Thank you for bringing up those questions. You know, just over the past 10 to 15 years, our budget has increased that much just from natural growth, not by raising taxes. And I'll give you a real life example too of how just by living within your means and cutting back, we have enough money. You don't hear people elected to office say we have enough money, but we have enough money to do what we need to do here in Knox County. So last year, the school system decided to make it a priority to bring teachers to market value. So for the past few years, we have been giving teachers 4% raises every year. So is Mayoral, so is Oak Ridge. We have not closed that gap. And so last year, we made it a priority. Let's bring them to market value. So in that study, we found that it was going to take $41 million to do that. And it was also going to take 3 to 5 years to find this $41 million. But by saving money and going to the school system and asking each department, so not in the classroom, downtown, asking each department to cut back 5%, we were able to find $41 million in 1 year. So I think that's a prime example of living within our means, saving, and cutting spending. You can find waste in the government, for sure. We all know that. We all know there's waste in the government. And also, like I said, I'm the daughter of 2 small business owners. My parents own small businesses, so when you are a small business owner, you are the CEO, you are the janitor. My mom kept the books, you keep the schedules, you stock the shelves. And so being a pro-business county, how do we attract businesses here that share our same values and morals? And then also the businesses that are here, how do we support them? I truly believe when government gets out of the way, families and businesses thrive. Just small government. I think that's how we thrive as a community.
This is political design.
Exactly. And also growth is a big issue. Like I said, I live in Hornback Valley. It was 3 years ago, one January, we came out of our house and a whole mountain had been leveled to build a neighborhood with 700 homes. And so we truly are seeing this sprawl, this unchecked sprawl happening in our communities. Our farmlands are disappearing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, when I moved to Hornback Valley 12 years ago, it looks nothing like that. And probably the people that lived there 12 years ago thought, well gosh, it keeps changing. So how do we grow in a smart, sustainable way? Because right now we're not doing that. Our roads are a mess. What's that?
It's not land growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our farms are disappearing. We have to protect that. We have to start protecting that. You look like you want to say something. You want to say something?
Oh, well,
You look like you
I
want
just
to
want
chime
to,
in.
well, talking, what you keep hearing is, people say, oh, well, we need more low-income housing, and that creates this need for greater density. That's actually not true. I went to a training session with the Knoxville Chamber of Commerce just a couple months ago, and my go-to said, actually, the deficiency is in high-income housing. Because what happens is because Knox County is a destination, you have people with a lot of money coming into Knox County, and they are competing for the kind of, think of the second home that people have when they, you have young children, you get your starter home, then you move up a level, okay? Well, because there's not enough high-income housing, people with a lot of money are coming from out of Knox County competing for those houses with people who live in Knox County. And so they're competing with the starter home people. And then you keep moving on down the line, and yes, that does push, that makes housing for low-income residents difficult. But the reason why is you don't have enough at the top. So when people start saying we need more low-income housing, that's not actually true. And the Chamber of Commerce has the data to back that up. So just,
Yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate you talking about that.
The problem with development is they just go out and go anywhere and overload the infrastructure.
Yeah,
Amen.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
what needs
Yeah.
to happen is if they're going out in the middle of nowhere, they need to bring the infrastructure with them.
Yeah, we need to be more proactive in our roads, not reactive.
You look, the city mayor is trying to get an increase in tax for the city. Like,
Yeah.
it's atrocious. Well, they've got all this growth, yet they can't pay their bills, okay? Because of the, we got this program over here, this program over here, all that.
Yeah.
And our 2,800 farms went by the wayside in 1 year because of this type of government. you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. And this is your third tax increase since 22. So this will now be, I have an op-ed in the paper if y'all want to read it, that is against this new tax increase. Her third tax increase. We do not need a tax increase in the county. We have plenty of money. We just need to cut spending and put our money where it needs to go and prioritize.
Proper management,
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
instead of foolish.
Absolutely. And just focus on core services. I was talking to a business owner, you're talking about in the city, I was talking to a business owner in the city recently, a Greek person that owns a restaurant. Shocking that another Greek person owns a restaurant. And he was telling me that he's been waiting over 6 months to get a certain permit. That's 6 months he has not been able to do business.
In the city?
In the city,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
John and I have traveled many roads in third world countries, and they're much better than what we have in our city. Just us putting a suspension under his truck and getting ready to put one on the mine, you know, and driving around the city. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. So we have to make sure in the county that we are electing conservative leaders. Because Nashville didn't become Nashville overnight. Memphis didn't become, well, Memphis made it that way, but Memphis didn't become Memphis overnight either. We have to make sure that we are electing conservative leaders. Yes.
that's at the school system and law enforcement, but they make up about 75 or 80% of expenditures.
So the school system is over 60% of the county budget. When I started on the school board, the school budget was around 400 million. Now it's at 700 million.
When I started, there was 117 million.
What year was that? What year was that?
It was 1990, that was when I got involved.
Okay,
The school
yeah.
systems combined.
Yeah,
1987,
yeah.
the combined budget of when the city and county combined was 117 million dollars. And now it's how much?
700 million.
Yeah, and that's my point,
Yeah.
is that, you know, we've had the exponential growth, and I'm not anti-teacher,
Yeah.
I love teachers.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, if you do a curve, if you do a chart of it,
Yeah.
and you look at the growth of our revenue
Right.
versus the growth of
Like the-
certain
The student.
well, if you look at the students, our students have only increased by probably less than 10,000.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that doesn't add up either, even when you add
Yeah.
inflation. What I used to do is, I used to break it down to classrooms. Okay, so if you have 25 kids, or what, 20 or 25
Yeah,
kids?
25, 28 kids in the finals.
Well, then we
Yeah.
spend what, about 10,000 a year?
About that, a little less, but yeah.
That's $400,000.
Make it an even number. Yeah.
That's $400,000, right?
Yeah.
So what we pay a teacher, 40,000, 48,000?
Yeah.
Where's the rest of it go? I know you have to have buses and you have all the other
That's,
things.
yeah.
But labor in most businesses is the number one expense, okay?
Oh, absolutely.
So,
Your
I mean,
people, your people.
I fought some of these battles, I'm not trying to take over the conversation. I fought these battles all the way back, even when I was on the board from 96 to 2000.
Yeah.
but I was an idiot and I didn't know it. Okay, I just happened to be a businessman who made a payroll and made profit, but and the only businessman on the board.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you know, the challenge is going to be, where are you going to get the money
To get the money.
when 80% of it
Yeah.
is, you know, basically absorbed by two entities.
Right,
And
yeah.
I love the school system, but nobody loves the sheriff's department and the sheriff more than I do. Okay, but the bottom line is, you know, that's gonna be interesting to watch.
It's going to be, it is not easy. It is not easy work, but it is worth diving into and looking,
Absolutely.
where is this versus the flip side of, let's just raise taxes.
Yes.
Let's take the people's
Yes.
money.
Instead of the India way, do it the business way.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Amen.
You have a third tax increase, and what has that got in the city? And even in that list of priorities that she has, I don't really see any, I don't see anything that honestly is a strong
No.
priority, to be honest.
And there's no improvement.
Exactly.
It's a degradation of services.
Yeah, yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
I live in the city.
Yeah. It's,
What is the school system in Knox County across the state when the voucher system goes into play? And our kids are being sent to public or private.
right, but they have a choice. Well, so the state put in a floor. So the public schools are not losing any money. So the public schools are receiving the same amount of money that they would have
And with less kids.
with less kids. Yeah, so they won't be losing money.
Well, that's my case.
Yeah.
When you talk about your cut spending and finding ways,
Yeah.
which I'm sure will finance some of, but how do you, what's your plan to balance the growth in infrastructure, growth in space, along with the overgrowth in the schools that we currently have?
Yeah, so, you know, we do have a few new schools being built currently because of that. And I will say the school system has done a great job of being proactive in this versus reactive. And I'll give you an example. So we do have a new school going in the Farragut area, because there's a lot of growth in the Farragut area. So there's a new elementary school that is going to be built out there. We purchased the land. When we first went out, and Dr. Reiswick, who's the superintendent of schools, when his team went out to the Farragut community, they presented 3 different ideas what that school should look like. The community said, "Oh no, that's not what we want. This is what we would like to see." And so that's the school that they're going to get because they listen to the community. So we are being very proactive versus reactive. We recently voted to close a few schools and consolidate them because of the space, which is saving money in the long term and not wasting money. So the school system is being very proactive and working in that growth piece. What I would like to see from the county is being proactive in our roads.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, the balance there with the growth in infrastructure and the schools.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, like I said, you know, I have a new driver. We live off a 2-lane country road, and he's driving this road with thousands of houses going up, and thousands of houses that are already there. So that's something that I would like to see.
So, I mean, I guess I'm asking, what is your plan to fix that?
I think we
How
have to
do you finance
I think it's prioritizing. Just like we have in the school system, we have 4 priorities. And everything in the budget falls into one of those 4 priorities. I would love to see a true budget done that way. If you prioritize 50 things, nothing's a priority. If you focus on 3 things, you can get some stuff done. I would love to see 3 things prioritized and everything falls into areas. Roads and infrastructure being one of them. Yes, John.
Three things. The school system is basically taking over the county budgets from every county in the state.
Yeah, that's fair. I would say this
Yeah,
school
yeah,
is the majority of those budgets.
Medicare.
And what's that?
When Medicare was taking over the state budget, every year,
Ten
was
payer?
more and more, Medicare was taking over the state budget.
Okay,
So they had to stop. somewhere down the line with them all is, it's gonna have to change again, because, the school system is taking over the budgets for every county in the state.
Yeah, big part.
Now, there is a fallacy that goes around that something that's called maintenance of effort.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you'll hear different things. You can't cut the school system's budget. You have to fund it at least what it was, the previous year.
At a certain level.
And all this, that, and the other. We really need to talk to our legislators, and if we're not operating, I see where you're going. If we're not operating as efficiently as we can be, we should be. Listen, I won't pay teachers, I won't pay school personnel, everything that we can afford to pay, I do that. Because they deserve everything that they can get. But the bottom line is, when you see the growth of the number of students over time, and the growth of the expenditure, in the business world, that would not happen.
It doesn't add up.
I think the state has to step in some.
That is a state issue, that's
Right,
correct,
and
yes.
the second issue
Yes.
is the state calls it the homeless issue.
Uh-huh,
And
yeah.
no county's gonna fix it without state help.
Oh, absolutely, I
So
totally agree
the
with that.
other thing, Mayor's Association needs to be
Yeah,
getting together and pressuring Nashville
yeah, I
to
think
help
it,
with these problems.
I really do think that that is a state issue for sure. I do work very well with our state delegation, several of them. But it does, you know, we do have a homeless problem, and it's not just in the city, it is also in the county as well. I was talking actually to a former pastor of First Baptist Concord a couple months ago, and he was telling me that he served several years ago on a task force under the city mayor. And when he first joined this task force, they counted, you know, he said around 1,600 homeless people in the city. Over the course of his time on this task force, the city mayor spent over $1 million more for this task force. At the end of his time on this task force, there were over 2,000 homeless people. So throwing money at these problems is not the answer. It definitely, we need the state's help. I think when they closed Lakeshore, we lost our middle institution. We don't have the beds. We really need the state's help to get a facility. I would love to see it here in Knox County that can service all of East Tennessee. But it really does come down to the state, and also working with our faith-based communities as well. I think it's a combination of things in that area. But it's a real problem, and we need real solutions to that.
Betsy, you mentioned that you will advocate or you'll have problems. You know, years ago, we had the Lakeshore
Yes. Yep.
facility
Yes.
that really was, had multiple disciplines, just wasn't one.
Right. Yeah. It serviced a lot. Yeah.
If I could say that the problem was the single most important things, in my opinion, that we need in this county and in this region
Yeah.
is a regional mental health, social services
Yes.
facility.
Amen.
All into
And
that.
it needs to be
All
done
into
by
that.
the state.
Yes. Yeah.
It needs to be done by the
Yeah.
state, and it needs to be located somewhere in Knox County. And I think that would really help.
Yeah.
That would
I
be incredible.
I
What could
completely
happen.
agree. I totally agree. All into that. And I think in several ways, we really need to think more regionally.
Yes.
And be humble about the
Yeah.
fact that, you know, to service East Tennessee, same with businesses as well, you know, and attracting businesses. You have people that live in Flood County and work in Knox County, vice versa, or Oak Ridge, or, you know, so really just thinking in that regional way, especially when it comes to a mental health institution. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree. Yep.
It was originally, we were supposed to be able to take them on the
What's that?
We were supposed to be able to take them on the middle, people down the hospital.
Yeah.
Got moving, that, we didn't work a year.
It didn't work, yeah.
It didn't last a year.
When you think, line of view was East Tennessee psychiatric hospital. This region, okay, middle, west and east, it was the same thing. I mowed, raked and baled the hay down there year in and year out for a long time. And I saw the daylight to the dark, a lot of the activities going on down there, and as growing up in this area, I was like, they did a lot of good. And when they closed that down, I've been working in these streets, the street ministry, we had like 25 to 50 homeless people when they closed it. Then all of a sudden now we've got 15,000 plus. And they say there's 1,600, that's a load of crap.
Yeah.
Put another zero on that, okay? Put another zero on that. Then you'll get close to reality. There might be another 4, 5, 6,000 there, really, okay?
now.
But we service about
Absolutely.
15, 16,000 in the city, okay?
And with their drug court, we can give people a choice.
Yeah, I serve on the Metro Drug Coalition
You
board.
can go get help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, with homeless people, vagrancy is against the law.
Yeah,
It still is.
yeah.
Okay?
I
But
see
we'll
those
give-
signs on paper mill.
But now here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take you over here, to help you out, and maybe get you on your feet.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
where you
it
can
really
go
is
out-
a mental health
Where you can
issue.
go out and make a living for yourself.
Right, and be a productive adult, exactly.
Still make a few people
And
rich off of
I'm
it.
not a bleeding heart liberal. Okay?
Oh, I know you're not, Steve. I know you're not. But that's what I love about these conversations. We live in such a great place with great people, and these conversations help my team. I've got such a great team, and we really dive into these issues, and then also try to find real solutions that work for our community. I love collaborating with our community, so this has been a great discussion. Does anybody else have any questions?
I'd just like to
Yes.
frame that issue a little bit for you all. There's a concept that is advocated by the people with the D behind their name, and it's called housing first. I don't know if you've heard that, but what they believe that people should be housed first, and then you deal with their problems. And see, all that's called enabling. That's what you would call that. Is there any other?
Backwards.
Yeah, that's right.
Free stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
Density equals Democrat.
That's correct. Density equals Democrats. By the way, there's a Wall Street Journal article and a Washington Post article from 2015 that supports that premise.
Yeah.
So it's scientific. It's not just kind of intuition or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, and well, okay, I just have a basic. I think it's like the movie. You build it and they will come. Okay, you need to make. Unfortunately, you have to make Knox County inhospitable, and the folks with the D behind their name just see it a completely different way. But that's
They exploit the generosity of people like us.
Yeah.
Okay? The conservative values that we have. We want to lift the community up. Okay? They want to exploit that to get themselves filthy, stinking rich. Okay? Like the farms, for instance. You got stores everywhere. People volunteer. They have millions of dollars. They pay millions of dollars to their administrative people. And can you get anything for free for your people in the street that need something? No, you got to pay even more than you pay at Walmart for a ragged pair of jeans, $10, okay, whatever. I'm saying that is the biggest scam we got going. Those people need to be prosecuted, not allotted. It's like like Jim Clayton. It's like they're what our hero. No, these are criminals. And they're stealing from us, and it needs to stop.
and the statistic that you gave earlier, it just supports that more people were homeless after all the money spent than before.
That's right.
Exactly.
They get stuff in their pockets.
And a lot of your 501, a lot of your 501Cs, okay, there's a lot of them that do good work. But a lot of 501Cs, the people that they serve is a means to an end, not the reason that they exist.
Exactly.
And there is, of course, there is a good program. I think it's more directed towards mothers, impoverished mothers. But in Florida, Ron DeSantis' wife was part of a move to get people off the dole, so to speak.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
it's been very successful.
Did a fabulous job.
Yeah.
Fabulous job, yeah. But it really goes to show too how important local is. A lot of people you know, Washington, oh, you know, you have so many people coming out for our federal elections. The first time I ran for school board in 2020, it was a special election. So I was on the Trump-Biden ticket. And that year, just in District 6, so just in my district, not countywide, 26,000 people voted in District 6. When I ran again in 2022, 6,000 people voted in that election. But these are, you know, your mayor, your school board, your county commission, those are the elected positions. Those are our local leaders that affect decisions that affect our everyday lives, our roads, our schools, our kids. That is what matters. When I was door knocking, and I probably need to wrap this up, I told him, he said, how long do you need? I said, I can talk for 5 minutes, I can talk for 45 minutes, whatever you need. When I was door knocking the first time running for school board, this gentleman opened the door, and I was telling him my background. And I said, I work for Congressman Duncan in DC, and I'm running for the school board. And he said, oh, you're doing it backwards. You know, most people run locally to then get to DC. And I said, well, that's very interesting. I don't disagree with that. That is absolutely how a lot of people do it. But I think God gave me that opportunity to come back and serve my community and serve families and be a voice for families, be a champion for families, and now serve in this role, being a champion for everybody in Knox County and champion those families and those businesses. Because again, when government gets out of the way, that's when our families and businesses thrive.
Right,
So.
right.